Welcome. This podcast is a series of candid conversations exploring the human experience from a completely new perspective. In it, we will be diving deeply into the meaning of commonly used words and pointing you away from that old stressful way of looking at life and towards a new paradigm. This will help you find a sense of calm, cultivate meaningful relationships, and create harmony in every aspect of your life. Here is Navigating Life with Ease with Michaela, Ellis and Clare, Downham. Well, hello again.
Hello, Claire. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I see you're in Trevor today.
I am in Trevor, yeah. And luckily right now we've had some really heavy rain today, but luckily it's nice and quiet now. We could have had a podcast with a little rain noise in the background.
I
but
wouldn't
it is
mind
quiet.
that.
It's quiet now.
Yeah.
No, it would be quite
Nice.
nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So I have a word. I've actually had a couple of words, and but let's just go with this one, and it's creating.
Well, I'm going to love this conversation. I know already because I think creating is something that we are naturally inclined to do. But I've had my own really not difficult relationship with, but interesting relationship with the idea of me creating anything that was worth anything. I think I aligned creating with being artistic from being very young. I think I saw that. Yeah, can I create like other people who seem to be artistic in the traditional sense of their painters or their singers or their, people who are in the theatre or doing the creative arts, I guess was what I would have inclined towards thinking about. That's what I thought about that word. I thought that word, was to do with that aspect of creating, to be creating something of an artistic nature, I guess. So for many years, I didn't see that creating was something I could do. And yet it's something that actually we're doing all day, every day, even if we're just creating a cup of tea, that's just the right colour and has the right amount of milk and, in our favourite mug or whatever. Or we're just, in this conversation right now, we are creating something. And I think it's our natural state to be creating. I think it's about bringing something from the formless into the form is creating. And it's just so natural to us, really. Like it's one of those innate qualities that you and I often talk about. That desire to be creating, the creativity is naturally part of us, and yet somehow it sometimes gets blocked. And I always think about little children and how you give them a pile of paper and some paints, for example, and they immediately are creating, and sometimes they can just create something that's just like a yellow stripe in paint across a piece of paper, and they're like, yeah, I'm done creating, there you go, that's my thing. And you're like, oh, is it a thing that it doesn't look like anything, but it doesn't matter to the child because the child hasn't got all this thinking about what creating should look like. It's just okay, the child is just okay to have picked up a yellow blob of paint and just striped it across a piece of paper. And there you go. I've created something. I'll move on now and create something else in the sand or the water or the Play-Doh, So I think it's to be creating is our natural. It's one of our innate traits. And yet so often because of maybe perfectionism or wanting something to be right or thinking that it's got to look a certain way, we squash that down. And so those things that could come through us from our unique place, from our unique potential, don't ever come into the world, because the idea is there, but then the squashing down thoughts kind of stop that creating from happening. So that's my first little ramble on that subject. How about you? What have you seen around creating?
Yeah. Well, I love your mention of a child just putting a streak across a paper and calling it done. And yeah, I think yes, absolutely, we are. That is what we are. We are creative energy, potential, just ready any moment, every moment that there's something to bring into the world, whether it be, an exchange look with another human, or, creating a connection, or, whether it's, yeah, it can be seen it or not. This has just come up for me, so bear with me here, that it's actually felt too. Of course, I mean, everything that we're thinking, we're feeling, but just in this moment, I just saw that creating is what comes up with it. Of course, is some thought or not very much thought. And it comes with a feeling too. So if we're just doing something like creating brush teeth or that kind of thing, there's not going to be a lot of thinking about that. But there is a feeling still of the calm. So yeah, this is new. I might have to explore this even after the call a bit about creating. And the idea, like, it's so subjective, right? Because we can look at that child's, painting and say, well, what is it? What, we want to make some meaning of it. We want it to, like an abstract piece of art. If we're really like, okay, well, what is it here? Or, if you, sometimes it can, because I know it's a preference, whether someone appreciates that type of thing, or if they would rather see a picture perfect painting of, a scene with a cow and a girl and a pond and, the sky and behind, where it's very, I know what it means, that, so it's very subjective, this idea of what is creative when we look at it from our thinking intellectual mind. And it can pinch off the beauty and the wonder of what is actually created all around us in any moment. I'm looking at a Kleenex box with beautiful colors on it, and it could mean something. It doesn't. When I look, I appreciate the colors, but it's kind of everywhere we look, there is something that's created by another creator. Even if it's something like a Kleenex box that there's probably millions of them out there just like this. But even the hands that went into creating the machines that automatically fold up the box and stick the Kleenex inside and all that, it's just like everywhere we look, there's evidence of creation. That was not where I thought it was going to go for me.
I love what you said there, because as you were talking about something like a machine making a box of tissues, that I'm sat here in a lovely green space and I can just see leaves on trees, lots of them, and blades of grass, and that they're also part of this creation. That there's creating going on there. Even now, I can't see it happening, but those leaves are doing things. They're creating oxygen, aren't they? Because the sun's shining on the leaves, and the whole photosynthesis malarkey is going on, and they're absorbing the carbon dioxide from our air and putting more oxygen into it, and that's happening. And I think always for me, when I look to nature or when I look to small children, I find the same thing, really, that again, we're pointing to this innate quality, aren't we, of life. Not just an innate quality of humans, but an innate quality of life is creativity, is to be creating, whether it's nature or a machine or a human. There's creating going on all the time. And that like nobody's doing that. Just some magical, feels magical to me, and just some magical energy is creating that photosynthesis, for example, going on outside my window on the green, with the green leaves of the trees. And in actual fact, the capacity for us to be creating from that place, not so much from upstairs in the head, in the psychology, that potential is available to us too. And we do interfere far too much because we think it's got to look a certain way, like, back to the child with the yellow stripe, I'm done, thank you very much, look at my beautiful work of art. Then we're kind of going, yes, but it doesn't look like anything, and what is it? And no, actually you need to put some more lines there, make it into a house, or and we do that to ourselves all the time, don't we? And a lot of the time I talk to people who are kind of stuck because they think they've got to intellectually create something. But when it just comes through us, like the photosynthesis in the leaves, there's something more flowing, more magical, more full of ease about it, isn't there? We don't have to do it all. And when we think we do, it gets all really sticky and tricky, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it does. In that, and I've done it like recently, the last couple of weeks, I've wanted to create things, and I had a lot of thinking about how they needed to look and sound. And the more I did it, and I did it, but it wasn't as much fun. And it didn't have that nice, easy flow. Kind of towards the end, it started to come in as I got into it. But yeah, the more we get involved with our personal mind in there, trying to get it right, or looking, to things that you've seen in the past or done in the past, or, trying to recreate, or it's just, there is an ease when you can just allow what is already living through us, animating us, to just flow and go with it. Almost like you're in step with it. And just, yeah, those three-legged races where when you first start out, you're all like going in opposite directions, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is hard, and falling down and bumps and bruises, and then all of a sudden you get it, you get in step. It's like, oh yeah, this is good. And there's motion, there's momentum, and it feels fun. It feels like, it just feels good. And then you get out of step now and again and stumble and fall and trip, and yeah, but it's always there, that internal, that rhythm, our natural rhythm. It's there all the time when we just allow it to flow. rather than think that it needs to be different if we're comparing it, or just, in a state of mind that it needs to be something better. And it's just like, it's the best. It's the best when it comes from that easy flow. And it's surprising. It can be really surprising. Yes? What comes out?
I mean, it's like these conversations that we're having, isn't it? We start with the simplest of things, a single word, and then we see where that exploration goes. And like you said just before, that, oh, this isn't going where I thought it was going to go. But how often does that then become a barrier? Like you said that lightheartedly, oh, this isn't going where, and you were kind of just aware and light with it, and kind of free and easy, and like, yeah, well, but great, it's interesting, it's not gone. But how often does that, this hasn't gone how I think it should go, become a block for us, like a brakes on, stuck kind of feeling that comes with that so often, because it doesn't look like how we think it should look, how somebody else has looked, when we're doing that comparison nonsense on goodness knows what social media platforms. There are so many now. That yet another one this week or last week, I know it was, that suddenly came into our awareness. Like there's so many places to wrongify ourselves, really, and to make our thing that we've created be somehow wrong, not perfect, not as it should be, whether that's just from our own thinking anyway, or from us looking out into the world and going, oh, my thing doesn't look like somebody else's thing. And yet back to the little person, the little child doesn't really care. Fred's got a painting with a red stripe on and mine's got a yellow stripe, and I don't really care. I like the yellow stripe and I'm going to go with that. They're just not bothered, are they? And yet we can really be hard on ourselves when we think that. And I think it stops people. You and I both talk about revealing people's potential, and it stops that coming into the world, and how many people are not sharing their magic with the world, because their creative thing, their creative thought, their idea, whatever, doesn't seem to be, in inverted commas, up to scratch. It doesn't seem to be good enough in some way, and that really does stop people, I think.
Yeah.
But without that, like you said, there's just this flow of aliveness that's no different in its energy to that tree out there that's rapidly making oxygen as we speak, and taking carbon dioxide out of the air.
Yeah. When it's one of those concepts that are, because it's like we can only look at it sort of conceptually and then experience it. Like to experience it, to take it into your own personal life, not just listening, like just see, play with how this really is, how this really happens. And then when you see what you are creating, when you're, listening to this conversation, and I'm listening to it as it's happening, experiencing it and thinking, right, I have infinite potential energy flowing through me. Creative. It's formless. It could be whatever I would like to form it into. So what would I like to form it into? What's possible? And opening up into this space of possibility, of wonder, that it's almost like opens up if you're thinking of yourself as a vessel of creative energy, it's like it opens it up, it dilates it, it expands it, and it just makes room for more to be experienced, because we experience our own creations. So why not create things that are delightful and cool, fun, and satisfying?
Yeah, I love what you're saying there about opening up, because I think what happens when we have a set idea of something is that we become very narrow, don't we? And then we kind of lose the peripheral vision. And really the best idea might be like somewhere at the 90-degree from the forward point, and that's the thing that we can follow if we've not got this rigidity around it. It's got to look a certain way, it's got to be a certain way, and that, the creative juices can just really flow without that once we haven't got all those rules. I feel like we could do like 2 episodes on this. I think we should come back to this topic and explore it again, because it's one that I find comes up a lot for people.
Yeah, very good. It's good.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Feels good. Thank you. Thank you for your presence here today.
Yeah, yours too. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Hey, thank you for being a part of Navigating Life with Ease. We'd love to hear your feedback and receive a review on your favorite podcast platform. That'd be great. This will help others who'd also like more ease in their life to find us. You truly matter to us, and we're here to support you. So if you've any words you'd like us to explore, or you have a question, please reach out to us at Clare at claredownham.com or Michaela at simpleselfconnection.com. Again, thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more episodes of Navigating Life with Ease.